Well, it's the very end of summer, and we get some of these flowers bloom at the end of summer, and some of them stay around right on through fall, so it gets fairly late in fall, and somehow the butterflies and the bees find them. It's still plenty warm out, so it's not not a problem for the insects right now, but they'll stay around these flowers, some of them, the bees especially, right up until it seems like it's too cold for them. I don't think this is the same kind of flower that they had here just a few years ago that seemed to last for so long. But yeah, it's just a beautiful Saturday. Yesterday I was down in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we were looking at some aquaculture stuff at UNC Wilmington, and we were looking at some bay scallops that they were raising, and we were looking at some sea bass and some groupers. And they all had in tanks that they were raising, and there was a whole bunch of talk about science, and all I could think was how much you would enjoy being there. You love science and the animals and all those kinds of things, and I think you would have, I just thought how much you would have loved looking at all those little animals that they were, fish and things that they were raising, and you'd been so interested in how they were doing it. And of course, we also were talking about some interesting kinds of plants that grow sort of in salty environments, and neat. And we were talking about entrepreneurship and how people can turn those ideas and use the science and things to turn things into businesses. And it was a nice day, and I think I know you love all that kind of stuff, using your mind. Look at these beautiful little creatures here on Earth. It all works together. If we keep thinking and keep working hard to think through problems, we can come up with better solutions, and it keeps things moving along. And when we keep things moving along in the right way, with the right kinds of intentions, and with the freedom and free markets and free enterprise, and we can solve problems in a way that allows for the most amount of peace. There's always going to be conflict and some disagreements on things, but when we take the right approach, we minimize a lot of those conflicts, or we sort through them. The conflicts are part of the sorting out process, and despite what a lot of what we would call authoritarians or central planners would like for us to think, it's when we don't have all the options available to us and we try to force solutions in one direction, that's when really significant conflicts come along. Well, it may not look like conflicts for the people who are on board with that way of doing things, but ultimately it causes gaps in society, and the people who are caught on the other side of the gap, sometimes they're not even acknowledged until history shows otherwise, but they suffer extremely badly, and sometimes even that's what causes war or genocides or really bad things. And I'm not saying that there's one solution for everything, but a good approach is when everybody's kind of working on their own things in a way that they're free to do so, and so that the best solutions kind of rise to the top. And people can have also, cumulatively, when each individual is thinking about what they think is the best solution or the best way of trying something, and they give each one of them's giving it a shot, it helps to avoid what in simpler terms, has been called groupthink. So there's a really good experiment when you have a problem to solve. It's been shown over and over again that if you let the group of individuals first come up with solutions for the problem themselves individually before you work on it collectively, you skip what's initially called groupthink, in which just one loud voice pushes forward one possible solution out of many potential solutions that don't get heard. But when you allow for a group of individuals to work on the problem each individually, and then each one of those ideas gets put forward and tested individually, then the best one can rise to the top, and then the group can come together and work on it. So you do eventually want to work on things as a group, but you don't want to start with the group think. You want to have sometimes people use the word competition, and in some cases I think that's a overuse of the word competition, because in some cases it is true competition, but in a lot of cases it's not really so much of a competition, or it's a stretch of the definition of competition, I should say. You could use the word competition, but it's more of a sorting out process. I like to think of competition as being one variation of a way to sort things out, but you don't always have to use the word competition. It's not that competition's bad, it's just that I think it's overused. I think it's, for me anyways, it's a better to think in terms of a sorting process. So there's lots of different ways to sort things. Competition is one way to sort things, but you need a sorting out process, and free markets are a part of that when it involves business and economy. And so once you get to that point, then people could kind of come together around the winning idea or the winning way of doing things, or there might be more than one. It doesn't have to be just one way. There's plenty of things that are done, and they're successful, and they're basically trying to get the same outcome, but they're done different ways. So it's not always that there's just one's perfect way. The environment that you're in, the geography that you're in, the economic climate that you're in, the scale that you're trying to do things at. It's good to have people that are doing things in small scale and large scale. A lot of times, both, like the same. There's many examples of that, but there's things that there's good to have customization at one level, and it's good to have standardization at another level. And so, but the thing is that having these ideas out there and letting people come around to think about them for themselves, and each person to come up with their own ideas, is a great part of innovation and science. It's where kind of science and creativity come together, and innovation's a lot of it like an art. And the same thing with art. I mean, innovation is technically an art, but other kinds of art too, painting and whatever, there's lots of different styles and techniques and skill sets, and sometimes it's just the artist who's the most technically great at drawing or whatever is not always necessarily the produces the art that is most appealing to people or whatever, but so it's a lot same thing with music and all sorts of things. So when you put your heart in the right place, you can use all these skill sets and whatnot to make your life fulfilling, and to also help other people. All these beautiful flowers and butterflies. I don't see any bees out here, but I love you, and miss you.